Okay guys, so after the big news broke that the actual New Warriors TV series has been pulled from ABC's Freeform, panic started to go crazy. I thought I sort of explained what was happening, but I'm going to really try to break down and streamline everything for everybody so you guys really get the full picture of what happened. So the first episode, or maybe a few more of New Warriors, have been shot, and they've been tested with audiences. As it turns out, they tested through the roof. People absolutely loved it. Disney and Marvel decided to hold the show, and Freeform, despite picking it up to series, will not be airing it. They decided not to put it onto their 2018 scheduling block, which means that Disney is able to take the show and shop it around to other networks. Now, of course, what other networks, that remains to be seen, considering we know that now Netflix and other studios that aren't owned by Disney probably will not be getting any more Disney or Marvel properties because they want to keep it all in-house, which gives you a few station choices out there. Either their brand new streaming service that they're looking to launch in 2019, unless they want to launch that earlier, this would be a good, program to put out there, or they could shop it around to somewhere like Hulu, which Hulu is part owned by Disney, or they could put it on ABC. Reason being, if it's testing through the roof, not a lot of people will see it on Freeform, but more people could see it on something like Hulu or ABC itself. So there's that. Now we're done talking about the New Warriors. Now let's jump over to the whole Netflix debacle. So here's what's happening. Essentially, Disney knows it has the biggest brands in the world. I don't care who you are watching this video, do not even argue against this. They own Marvel and Marvel Studios, which is the #1 brand for media entertainment in the world, and Star Wars, which is #2. They own both of those. They own the entire Disney catalog, which is just nostalgia-ridden, with hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of cartoons and other properties they could pull out at any moment, reboot, or do something with. So there's no question that Disney is the biggest power in Hollywood. And from what it sounds like, they're going to only be allowing Disney certified and Disney owned channels to be the ones to claim Disney properties. Once again, this makes a lot of sense. Now, think of it this way. Netflix has been distributing the Marvel Netflix shows. Okay, that makes sense. Now, this is sort of how Marvel started with their movies as well, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thor, for example, I believe was Paramount. Paramount was putting it out, they were doing all the marketing and everything. Disney went to them and said, you know what, this isn't going to work for us. Here's the rest of your money. We want Thor for ourselves. It's now a Marvel Studios entity all within itself. This was done with various other studios to offset costs when they first started. Once they found success, they pulled everything back and started doing it more in-house. They're doing the exact same thing with the Netflix partnerships. So worst case scenario, all the Marvel shows will not continue after their current season is done on Netflix. That's not going to happen. Best case scenario, and the one that probably will happen, Marvel will take all of these shows and the existing contracts and say, hey, you're ours. We just don't want Netflix being the distributor. So we're going to bring your shows over to our streaming service, and that's where they're going to be from this point on. And another likely scenario is that they reach an agreement. Day and date, they both stream on the same exact service. So Disney gets to stream it on theirs when Daredevil Season 4 comes out. Netflix gets to stream it there when Daredevil Season 4 comes out. They share each other's logos on there, they're helping each other, and that's that. The next big question. Does this rule out the possibility of Moon Knight, Blade, and such TV shows? No, it does not. As a matter of fact, this increases their chances tenfold. Why? Because this would be a distributing service by Disney. Everything made and controlled by them. No one else, outside interference, can possibly step in and say no. They would own every single thing. They could try anything they want. Much like Amazon Studios, where they pull out like 5-10 pilots and then have you vote for which one you want, they could do that exact thing, and that would be the entire library, and then they go, all right, what do you want? Or they might just be able to produce a show and put it on there, and they don't have to worry about anything, but they can sell advertising on their own streaming service. Next up, why in the world is this happening? Well, Back in the day, the good old days of TV, when there was barely even cable, you could have CBS or NBC produce a show and go, ooh, man, this doesn't really fit our wheelhouse. What do we do with it? And then ABC or Fox picks up the rival show. Sure, the costs are a little bit there, but they share it, and then that goes far, and the show's a huge success. Both stations benefit. So partnerships used to be made. The changing landscape of TV is pretty much in a giant state of flux the last couple years, and it's definitely going to change in the next 3 to 4 to 5 years. People are dropping TV subscriptions like crazy in favor of digital streaming. A lot of people are going to the 2 or 3 big defaults. They're doing Netflix, they're doing maybe something else, and maybe Amazon Prime if they have Amazon Prime, and that's it. So it's ever changing. Disney wants you to subscribe to their service. Their service, they're in-house. They know they got you locked in. And we recently saw with the huge success of CBS, all they had to do was produce one Star Trek TV show, and their subscriber numbers absolutely exploded. They now know that they can take other properties, do the same thing, and get $10 a month easily, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, and offer tons of original content where they control what comes out to you directly. So there you go. Hopefully this video reassured you guys nothing is going to change. Trust me, Marvel and Disney do not want to ruin any of the Netflix shows they're producing. You guys have to understand this. They're not going to do that. They're not suddenly going to go, all right, Jessica Jones, you're going to be a comedy. That's not going to happen. It's going to be the same people, everybody the same involved with it. It's just going to be a different streaming service if it comes down to that. Nothing's going to change. As a matter of fact, it's going to get better. It's going to get way better.